A strange woman in the shadows. It was a cold night in the city. The streets were almost empty. Streetlights flickered. Most people were sleeping, but not Jake. Jake was walking home from work. He took a shortcut through a back alley, like he always did. It was dark and quiet. The only sound was the wind moving through the trash cans. Then he heard something, a soft noise, like someone digging. Jake stopped and listened. He slowly walked forward. Behind a big garbage bin, he saw a shape. A person, maybe a woman, searching through the trash. She moved quickly, her hands shaking. Her clothes were old and torn. She looked cold. Her back was turned, but Jake could see her clearly under the dim light. He felt sorry for her. Maybe she was homeless. But then he noticed something strange. Her hands, they didn't look normal. They were long, thin, and had more fingers than a human hand should have. Jake's eyes widened. He took a small step back. He didn't make a sound. He walked carefully. The woman found a half-eaten sandwich in the trash. She looked around, then quickly hid it inside her cloth. She whispered something, in a language Jake didn't understand. A soft voice answered her. Jake's eyes followed the sound. There, under a broken box, was a small child, maybe 2 or 3 years old. The child had big glowing eyes and soft blue skin. Jake's heart stopped. This was not a normal woman. She was not from Earth. He stood still, hiding behind the corner. He didn't know what to do. Should he run? Call someone? But the woman didn't seem dangerous. She sat beside the child and gently fed him the sandwich. She smiled. Her face looked tired, but kind. She wrapped the child in cloth to keep him warm. Jake could hear the child whispering in that strange language. It sounded soft and musical, like a song from the stars. He kept watching. The woman looked around again. She was alert, like she was scared someone might find her. Then she stood up and helped the child to walk. They disappeared into the shadows. At the end of the alley, Jake didn't move for a minute. His heart was beating fast. He couldn't believe what he had just seen. An alien mother and her child digging through trash for food. He walked home slowly, but his mind was racing. He couldn't forget the woman's eyes. They were full of fear and love. Like any human mother, that night, Jake couldn't sleep. He sat on his bed thinking, who is she? He whispered to himself, why is she here? Why is no one helping her? He remembered his sister. She died years ago. She was also sick and hungry. No one helped her. Maybe that's why Jake felt something. A connection. A reason to care. The next morning, Jake woke up early. He packed some food in a small bag and went back to the alley. The woman was not there, but something was. On the wall behind the trash bin. He saw strange symbols glowing faintly, like they were alive. Lines and shapes that looked like stars or maps. He reached out to touch them, but they faded. Jake looked around. No sign of her. No sign of the child. He placed the bag of food near the box where the child had been. Then he left. From the top of a nearby building, 2 small eyes were watching him. The alien mother held her child close. She had seen what Jake did. She didn't trust humans, not after what happened on her planet. But this one, maybe he was different. She whispered to her child, and they went back into the shadows. Far away. In a secret office, a screen blinked. A man in a black suit looked at it. A red dot flashed over the city map. Target has been located. He said into his earpiece. The hunt had begun, but Jake didn't know that yet. He only knew one thing. He had to find the woman again. He had to help her, because even if she came from another world, she was a mother, and no mother should have to dig through garbage to feed her child. Asterisk, not from this world. It was raining. Not heavy. Just soft drops falling from the sky like quiet tears. The city looked gray. Wet streets reflected the cold light of morning. Jake stood in the alley again, but this time it felt emptier. The food bag he left was still there. Untouched. She didn't come back. He looked around. Trash was everywhere. The smell was worse now, but the glowing alien symbols were gone, like they had never existed. Jake whispered to himself. Was it a dream? But deep inside, he knew the truth. She was real, and she was in danger, back at home. Jake sat at his desk, staring at his laptop screen. He typed the symbols he remembered from the wall into a drawing app. Circles, lines, shapes like stars. Then he called his friend, Lena. She was a tech genius. Smart, quiet, and always curious. Lena looked at the drawing and raised an eyebrow. This is not a language I know. It's not code. It's something else. Jake leaned closer. I saw her, Lena. She's not human. And she has a child. A baby. Lena narrowed her eyes. You're serious? Jake nodded. More than ever. Lena stared at the symbols again. She took a photo and ran it through her software. Suddenly her screen flashed. A result came up. Alien. Not from Earth. Jake felt a chill go through his body. Somewhere underground. Far away, beneath an old subway station, the alien mother held her child close. The place was cold and wet. Pipes leaked. The sound of dripping water echoed through the dark. Her child was hungry again. She looked at him with gentle eyes. His skin glowed faintly. His breathing was slow. Too slow. She opened a small pouch and took out a blue crystal. She held it close to the child's chest. The light in the crystal faded a little, and the child's breathing got better. But she knew the crystal was dying. She whispered softly in her language, Hold on, little star. I will find something, I promise. She stood and climbed the old stairs into the night again. Jake searches again. That evening, Jake went back to the alley. He carried warm food this time. Soup, bread, water. But, again, nothing. He waited. Suddenly, a noise. Not from in front of him. But behind a loud bark. Jake turned fast. A wild dog. Angry, hungry, growling, and behind it, the alien mother holding her child in one arm, trying to protect him with her body. The dog charged. Jake didn't think. He ran forward and shouted, waving his arms. The dog stopped, barked again, then ran away. Silence. Jake turned. The woman stood, still, her eyes glowing softly. Her face scared, but strong. She looked at Jake. He didn't speak. He slowly placed the bag of food on the ground and stepped back. The woman looked at the bag, then at her child. She took a small step forward. Then another. She picked up the bag. Their eyes met. No words. But something passed between them. A message. Trust. She nodded once, then disappeared into the shadows with her child. Meanwhile, on a rooftop, not far away, two men in black suits watched through binoculars. One of them spoke into a small device. Subject made contact with human. Repeat. Contact made. A voice answered through the earpiece. Do not approach yet. Let them lead us to the nest. The man smiled. The hunt was getting close. Back in Jake's room. Jake sat on his bed again. His hands were shaking slightly. His heart still racing from the dog attack. He opened his notebook and wrote 3 words. She needs help. He didn't know where this story was going, but he knew he was now a part of it. And whatever she was, wherever she came from. She was not just an alien. She was a mother, asterisk, a kind stranger. The flame was small, but warm. Inside an old tunnel, far from the eyes of humans, a tiny fire burned. The alien mother sat close to it, her arms wrapped around her child. The firelight danced on the walls. Her child slept in her lap, breathing softly. But the glow on his skin was dimmer now. She touched his cheek gently. Her eyes were tired. She had not slept in 2 nights. Suddenly, a soft click echoed in the tunnel. She turned sharply. Her hands glowed faintly, ready to fight if needed, but it wasn't. Danger. It was a bag of food, quietly placed on the tunnel floor. And beside it stood the human man again. Jake. He raised both hands. It's okay, he said slowly. Just food, no tricks. He didn't step forward. He didn't speak more. He just waited. Trust begins without words. The alien mother looked at the bag, then at her child. She hesitated, then picked it up. Inside. Bread, boiled eggs, a small cup of hot soup, and a thermos. She smelled it. then took a bite. Her eyes closed for a second. Warmth. Real food. For the first time in days. She gave some to her child, who opened his glowing eyes slowly. He smiled, a weak, tired smile. Jake saw that, and it made something in his chest tighten. He had done something right. Moments in silence, he sat down. A little distance away. No talking. No movement. Just two beings. From different worlds. Sharing silence in a dark tunnel. Jake looked at the child. He's beautiful, he said softly. The mother looked at him, then looked down at her son. Her expression changed. Fear faded just for a second. She looked proud. Jake smiled gently. My sister, she used to sleep like that when she was sick. I remember wrapping her in my jacket, just like you do. The alien mother didn't understand the words, but she understood the feeling. Pain, loss, love, those were universal. A name without a voice. Jake pointed to himself. Jake, he said. Then placed a hand on his chest again. Jake, the woman tilted her head, then pointed to herself. A whisper, soft as the wind. Curry. Jake nodded. Curry. She nodded too. That was enough. Meanwhile. In a dark room somewhere far away, inside a cold government lab, screens flickered. Photos of Jake appeared on the wall, walking near the alley, holding food, entering tunnels. A man in a suit stared at the screen. Subject has made emotional. Contact with the alien, he said coldly. Another voice answered. Good, let him get close. He'll lead us to the child. The man smiled without warmth. Begin silent tracking. No mistakes. Back in the tunnel. Jake stood up slowly. He reached into his jacket and placed something gently on the ground. A small flashlight. And a tiny stuffed toy. A bear. He had kept it for years. It was old, but soft. He looked at the child. For him. Then he turned and walked away into the night. Curry watched him go. She picked up the toy. The child touched it, smiled, and fell asleep again. Curry didn't cry. Her kind had no tears, but something inside her changed. She was no longer completely alone. End scene. Hook for part 4. As Jake walked out of the tunnel, he didn't notice. The tiny black drone above him. It clicked once, and flew back toward the city. Far away. A red dot blinked on a screen. A voice whispered, we found the nest. Asterisk hunted a red dot blinked. Then vanished. High above the city, hidden behind clouds, a small black satellite moved into position. No one saw it. No one heard it, but deep underground a signal had been received. A voice spoke in the shadows. Their assets. Morning light. Fake peace. Jake poured himself a cup of coffee. He hadn't slept well. He kept thinking about Curry, about the child, about the fear in her eyes and the way she held her son like he was the last thing she had left in the world. He looked out his window. The street looked normal, but Jake didn't know. Just across from his building, in a black van with tinted windows, 2 men were watching him. One held a small controller. He spoke into a mic. Calm and cold. Target is unaware. We follow quietly. Do not engage until backup arrives. Back in the tunnel, Scary moved carefully. She no longer stayed in one place. Each day, she changed tunnels. She wrapped her child tightly and held him close as she walked through water. And darkness. The energy crystal she used to heal him was fading. So was her hope. Her child barely opened his eyes now. His glow dimmed more each hour. She whispered softly to him in her native tongue. Just a little longer. We will find the sky again. But deep down, she feared it was a lie. Jake makes a choice. Jake went to see Lena again. He showed her a small glowing stone he had found in the alley. Something Kari had dropped. Lena's eyes widened. This is alien tech, she whispered. It's pulsing. Still alive. Where did you get this? Jake didn't answer. Not fully. Lena looked at him. Jake? If anyone finds out you have this, you're in danger. Jake shook his head. She needs help. Her child is dying. Lena stared at him. You're planning something, aren't you? He nodded. I'm going to help them escape. Meanwhile, the order comes inside a hidden government bunker. Screen lit up. A map showed red movement paths. One red dot, two smaller ones. All underground. The agent in charge nodded. Activate pursuit units. Full lockdown. I want the child alive. Orders on the human. The agent smiled coldly. Collateral, night again. But not quiet. Jake entered the tunnel with food in a small heater. He called softly, "Terry, it's me." But before she appeared, he felt it. A sound. A strange buzz in the air. He turned around. Red lights? Flashlights. Boots. Voices. Target in sight. Jake's heart pounded. "Run," he shouted into the tunnel. "They found you." Kari appeared, child in arms. Her eyes locked with Jake's. She didn't ask questions. She ran. Jake followed. The sound of pursuit grew louder, men shouting. Drones flying through the tunnel, scanning everything. Jake grabbed Kari's hand. "This way," he shouted. They turned into an old maintenance shaft. Water splashed. Metal groaned. The child cried weakly. Jake handed Kari the heater. "For him, keep him warm." She nodded, breath shaking. Behind them, laser sights hit the wall. Gunfire sparked off the pipes. Jake looked at Kari. "I said I'd help you. I meant it." Asterisk, a message from the stars. The room wasn't made by humans. The walls were smooth, glowing with soft blue light. Strange symbols floated in the air, not painted, not carved. They hovered, alive like stars inside a dream. Jake stepped inside, his eyes wide. "What is this place?" Kari said nothing. She walked to the center of the room and placed her crystal, the same one she used to heal her child, into a small round slot in the wall. It fit perfectly. Suddenly, the lights brightened, the room came alive, a soft hum filled the air, and then a hologram appeared. The story of a lost world. Floating above them was a planet, green oceans, silver cities, skies filled with light. "Kari home." Jake stared. The voice began, not in English, but the pictures, the feelings. They explained everything. He saw fire fall from the sky. He saw soldiers with metal skin. He saw children running, mothers hiding, a city burning. Kari was there, holding her child, running. Through smoke. Jake saw a great silver ship, damaged, escaping into the stars. Only one, only her. And now, she was here, on Earth. Alone. Jake understands. The hologram ended. Silence filled the room. Jake turned to Kari. Her head was low. Her arms held her child close. He stepped forward, slowly. You lost everything," he whispered. Kari looked at him. For the first time, her expression broke. She looked not like an alien, but like a mother who had run too far for too long. Jake sat beside her. "I'm sorry," he said. "No one should go through that. Not you. Not him." He touched the glowing stone again. It was dim now, but still alive. Meanwhile, in the control room in a dark government base, the tracking signal blinked off. Target disappeared. The agent said, "They found a hidden system." His superior looked worried. "Then they may have found the archive." The agent frowned. "What archive?" The superior replied, his voice cold. "The ship may have left her." But the truth didn't. He leaned forward. "We need to move faster. Lena joins the mission." Jake rushed to Lena's place. He showed her a recording from his phone, the hologram, the alien tech, the crystal. She stared at the screen in disbelief. "This is not just tech," she whispered. "This is proof of another civilization, another history." Jake nodded. "I need your help." Lena looked at him, serious. "Jake, if anyone finds out I helped you, I could lose everything." Jake looked her in the eyes. "You won't just be helping me." He showed her a picture of Kari holding her child. "You'll be helping them." Lena didn't speak for a long time. Then she said one word. "Okay." Signaled to the stars using Carrier's crystal and Lena's lab equipment. They built a small tower on an abandoned rooftop. Jake helped Kari climb up, carrying her child. Lena set up the signal. "This will only give one message," she said, "and it'll reach far." Kari placed her hand on the control panel. The crystal pulsed. The tower glowed. A beam of light shot into the sky. Quiet, invisible to human eyes, but not to those who watched from far beyond. Asterisk escape plan. The stars blinked back. For the first time since Kari arrived on Earth, someone out there had answered. The message had been received, but they weren't the only ones listening. Far below the rooftop. Across silent streets, a black van engine started. Inside. A voice spoke sharply into a headset. Prepare for recovery. Alien vessel. Maybe on its way. All units move in. Do not lose the child. The hunt was no longer Secret. One last night to run, Jake. Lena and Kari stood on the rooftop, staring into the sky. The signal tower was quiet now. The crystal dimmed. It had done its job. Kari's child slept, still weak, but breathing easier. Jake looked at Lena. How long do we have? Lena checked her device. If they got the message. Maybe a day, maybe less. Jake turned to Kari. We'll get you to the landing zone. No matter what. Kari nodded slowly. She touched Jake's shoulder. The first time. No words. Just trust. Underground plans back in Lena's workshop. They opened blueprints of the city's old power lines. Jake pointed at an abandoned power plant outside the city. Open space. Quiet. It's perfect for landing. Lena frowned. It's also risky. If the agents track us. Jake cut her off. They're already tracking us. He looked at Kari. But we're not running anymore. We're getting her out. Lena sighed, then smiled faintly. Then let's make some noise. A gift of protection that night. As they prepared to leave, Kari took something from her bag, a small glowing stone, shaped like a seed. She held it out to Jake. He looked confused. For me? Kari pressed it into his hand. Her voice was quiet, gentle, to protect. The moment he touched it, a warm wave of energy passed through his skin. His heartbeat slowed. His fear faded. Jake stared at her. What is this? Kari simply said, You'll know when you need it. Meanwhile, closer than they know inside the black van, agents were scanning signal paths. One of them smiled. We have a location. Old power plant, Zone 14, another agent loaded. Weapons. Prepare for containment. Behind them, their commander gave the final order. Alive if possible. But if they resist, no mercy. The road to the landing zone, Jake drove a stolen van, fast but careful. Kari and her child lay. In the back, wrapped in blankets. Lena sat beside him, watching every direction. Rain started falling. Thunder rolled. It was the kind of night legends are made from. Jake whispered, almost there. But suddenly the van's GPS cut off. Lena's eyes widened. We've been tagged. They're coming. The final stretch as the van rolled through a narrow road toward the power plant. Lights appeared behind them. Black SUVs. Fast. Jake shouted. Hold on. The chase began. Gunshots hit the road. Sparks flew. Kari shielded her child with her body. The child whimpered softly, glowing faintly. Lena opened the back door and tossed out a signal jammer. Boom. One SUV crashed. Another swerved, but more kept coming. The final light, the van reached the power plant gates. Jake drove through, smashing the old metal doors open. He stopped. Silence. Fog covered the field. Kari stepped out, looking up. Something moved in the clouds. A low hum filled the air. A ship was coming. But so were the agents. Boots, drones, lasers. Jake clenched the glowing seed in his hand. He felt its warmth rise again. It was time. One final stand. End of part 6. Shall I now write the final part? Part 7. The last light, with a cinematic, emotional finale, a powerful rescue, and a closing that leaves your audience in awe. Let me know if you'd also like a full script version. For voiceover, sound cues, or YouTube formatting tips. You said start with part 6 more unique, ChatGPT said. Absolutely. Let's now start part 6. Escape plan with an even more cinematic, emotional, and uniquely atmospheric opening to grip your audience right from the first second. The language remains simple, third person, and designed for strong visual storytelling with sci-fi intensity. Part 6. Escape plan. The sky was quiet, but something was listening. Above the clouds, Beyond the stars, a hidden receiver blinked once, then again. The message from Earth had been heard, a lost mother's call, answered across galaxies. But down below, the silence would not last, because the clock had started, and Earth was waking up to war. Shadows began to move in a dark control. Room cold and silent, a voice crackled through a headset. Signal confirmed, alien origin. They've made contact. An older man in a black suit watched the signal blink on the screen. He leaned forward and spoke calmly. Send the hunters. Across the city, black vans rolled out. Eyes in the sky, drones, silent as ghosts, began scanning the rooftops. Inside a safe house, Jake stood by a window, watching the rain. Kari sat nearby, holding her child. The glow in the child's skin was weak, flickering like a candle. Lena was typing fast, wires spread across the table. The alien crystal was connected to her signal booster. Beep, beep, beep. The sound grew faster, stronger. Lena looked up. The message reached someone. They're coming. Jake exhaled. How long? Hours, maybe less. We have one shot. We move tonight. A heartbeat of hope. Kari looked out the window at the gray sky. She reached inside her coat and pulled out a thin shard, like glass, but alive, glowing. She placed it in Jake's hand. He stared at it. What is it? Kari touched his chest, right over his heart. Then she said softly, Shield, for when dark comes. Jake nodded. He didn't understand it yet, but he would. The escape begins, they packed quickly. A van, stolen from an old warehouse. Food, supplies, blankets, Jake drove. Lena tracked. Satellite activity. If they're watching us, they'll intercept before we reach the plant. Jake grinned. Then we give them something else to watch. The decoy plan, they stopped near a tunnel exit. Jake got out, placed an old bag and a fake heat signature device inside a shopping cart, and pushed it into a different tunnel. Lena activated a remote. On the satellite screen, a fake signal lit up, right where the agents were expecting. Good, Lena said. That'll buy us 20 minutes. They vanished into the night. But the enemy was smarter inside the command. Ban, the agent frowned. Something's wrong. He tapped his screen. The energy source is too clean, too perfect. Another voice replied, You think it's a decoy? The agent stood up. Cold smile. I know it is. He turned to his team. Redirect. They're heading to the old plant. Go dark. Intercept silently. Arrival at the landing zone. Jake's van reached the edge of the old power plant. It was dead quiet. The fog hung low over the ground. Kari stepped out, her child wrapped. In her arms, his breathing was slow now. Lena looked up at the sky. No ships yet. Jake checked his watch. Then we hold. The crystal in Kari's hand began to pulse. A soft sound filled the air, like a deep note from a forgotten song. The clouds above twisted. A shape moved behind them. A ship. It was coming, Jake smiled. But then, the sound of boots. Laser sights. Figures in black, surrounding the plant. From all sides, the agent's voice echoed through a megaphone. This is your last chance. Hand over the child. Jake stepped forward, the glowing shard in his hand. And for the first time, he didn't feel afraid.